Hey everybody, this is Brian. Welcome to Chiller Night Live. We're from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock. We'll be talking about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal. You pick the topic and we'll make a show out of it, by golly. Now, somebody did pick a topic. Last week at the very end of the show, somebody picked summer camp horror movies. So that'll be the main topic, and then we can branch off from there. Feel free to do so. I mean, we're not too strict here. Uh, Ava Hoagie says, hello all. Hey, baby. Stephanie says, hey, y'all. Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Pat Savan says, hi, all. Hey, Patty. Thanks for joining us. Graduation horror today. That's right. There was another. Yeah, that's right. We have two topics. Graduation horror. Huh. I wonder if we have a list for that I can pull up. But I do have a list for summer camp movies for sure. So, I can't even think of a graduation horror movie. But okay. Now there's a little task for you chiller maniacs. D says, "Good evening, everyone." Good evening, D. Thanks for joining us. Patty says, "Sorry, wrong topic." I think that was brought up. I was actually looking back through the video last week, trying to find the topics that were mentioned at the end of the show, and I couldn't find a second one. So, but yeah, if you want to mention that, you're more than welcome to. I personally can't think of any off the top of my head, anyways. But that's okay. We're gonna be all right. So just bring them on, and we'll chat about them. But yes, that's what we do from 8 p.m. until 9 o'clock. If you're new on here, if you're watching this later, you're just a little confused. You don't know exactly what's going on. Don't feel bad. None of us do. But here, what we do is talk about just all things under that chiller umbrella: horror, science fiction, paranormal. Bonus says, hey there, Brian, Miss Ava, and the Chiller Night crew. Hey, Bonehead, thanks for joining us. So that is, Bonehead says, how are you doing tonight? I'm doing fantastic. I cannot complain. John says, and it's the nighttime, and that makes it the right time for you to enjoy your next hour. I almost sang that, John. I could hear that. And once again, it's Tuesday night and time for Chiller Night Live. This is Crozak the Grand, and now here's our host, Bryan Hogue. Thank you, Crozak the Grand. And John follows up with his wave, of course. So thank you, John, for your always stellar intros. Patty says the only one close to grads is Carrie. Ah, there you go, That's true. Hi, Bone and everyone. Ava says. SBC says hello, everyone. Then it says, SBC, hello, buddy. And speaking of my baby Ava, tomorrow is a big, important day. My baby's birthday. So happy birthday, Ava. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. You have until midnight, until it's officially your birthday, but it will be your birthday tomorrow. 5/28. 5/28. Very special day, and I hope you have a very wonderful, happy birthday tomorrow. So, Tracy says, hello, sir. Hey, Tracy, thanks for joining us. Max says, hello again, folks. Let's hang. Let's hang indeed. Yes. So, there we go. Doing the show, and yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how festive we can get tomorrow. You know, being on a Wednesday, people don't generally get too festive on Wednesdays, but we're going to, by golly. Stephanie says, happy birthday, Ava. That's right. It's coming up again. It always, it's normally, Ava says, oh, thanks, baby. Good evening, all, Kevin says. Good evening, Kevin. Thanks for joining us. Bonus says, happy pre-birthday wishes, Miss Ava. Tracy says, Cutting bushes on your birthday? Oh my. Oh my, she says. Is that what you're doing tonight? That sounds fun. I had to do my yard work as well, so I'm a I feel for you there, Tracy. All right. So Ava says thanks, Stephanie and Bonehead. Yep, tomorrow's a big day. It's I can't it just comes up so quick, doesn't it? Yeah, and we were going to have a big cookout, to kind of blend it in with Memorial Day weekend, but it's just too cold. Too cold out there. We were planning on grilling and swimming and all kinds of stuff, but it feels like fall, so move the party indoors. So happy birthday to my beautiful baby. All right. Kevin says, I'm watching you from a hotel room in downtown Philadelphia. Oh, is that right? Okay. Well, enjoy your visit there in Philadelphia. And I appreciate you joining us tonight. Bonus says, would prom night count as a graduation horror, Pat Savan? Yeah, did they graduate? Was there a graduation, or is this just a teenage high school horror movie? Paul says, hey there, family, how's everyone doing? How are you doing, Sis Ava? I'm good, Paul. How's everything with you, Ava says. Hey, Manos Man. You missed it. You missed it. You just came in right after I announced it's Ava's birthday. So, speaking of Ava, well, tonight at midnight. Tonight at midnight, I should say. So, let's see. Tracy says, new shoes had a hole in one. Okay. D says, happy early birthday, Ava. Oh, thank you, D. Paul says, hey there, Bones. Your sidekick name is Boney Bob. All right. Ava says, thanks, D. Bones says, it's your partner in crime, Bonehead and Butthead. My superhero name, LOL. All right. Hey, you guys keep working on that. I see something happening. I see heroics, a team in the making here, a brewing. Happy birthday, sis, Paul says. So, thank you, Paul. John says, before we begin, let's give a birthday cheer to the following. Monday 26th was the birthday of Peter Cushing, the first release of the horror novel Dracula, written by Bram Stoker, and today it's birthday to Vincent Price and Christopher Lee. All right. That's true. A lot of birthdays. A lot of birthdays. Let's see. All right. So, Ava says, thanks, Paul. Okay. Now, tonight, the topic is summer camp movies. Now, what I did was, because I don't really have, these days, my time's a little more slim pickings, as far as me being able to gather stuff and load up on the queue and stuff like that. So, Ava says, my bloody birthday. My bloody birthday. Is that a movie? I hope. I hope that's not a foreshadowing for tomorrow. Play safe. Be careful cutting the cake. Keep all knives pointing away from you. That is why. Yes. Let's see. John says, and also today is the day that the movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space was released. Is that right? I did not know that. Bonus says, oh no, I just wanted to make a joke with Paul to help cheer him up, and I am a butthead as well as a death's head. Okay. It's all right. I'm a Gemini, birthday too, D says. Ah, okay. I happen to be a Leo, but yeah, Ava's. So yours is Well, then yours ought to be coming up pretty quick. Gemini twins, Ava says. That's a van. Wednesday is my Friday. Oh, is that right? Excellent. All right, so, I want to say, Chill Night Theater every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the reason we even started all this craziness. You know, join Stream TV every Saturday night at 9 p.m. You can go there at streammedia.tv, where you will watch 4 episodes of Chill Night Theater back to back. So check it out. Check it out. My bloody birthday, I shaved before the cake. Bonin says, Ava says, yes, that's a movie I watched back in the 80s. Ah, okay. Paul says, Boney Bob, no problem, love your brother. Max says, it's Geminoid season. Geminoids. Okay. SBC says, since we already have the next day here in the German time zone, happy birthday, Ava. Ah, there we go. There's a loophole there, and SBC found it. So, yeah, SBC is already in Ava's birthday, so. Very cool. All right, so, what I did. Paul says, are you 21 yet, Ava? I'll let Ava answer that one. But what I did was, Ava just sent me my bloody birthday Google search. Okay. Made in Italy back in 2019. Clownery is the modern version of that. My Bloody Birthday, aka Clownery. I thought you watched that back in the 80s. Is this a different movie? Bloody Birthday. Oh, yeah. Now this one, 1981. Okay, it's an American slasher film. Oh, I remember this one. Yeah. I do remember this one. I wonder what the budget was for this. Do we have a budget? Production, under production maybe? Oh well, I won't stray too far from 85 minutes, April 28th, 1981. Okay, cool. I have here a list of the 11 best, not my list, Ranker.com's list, Ranker.com, the 11 best summer horror or summer camp horror movies. So, I'm going to go to the bottom and work my way up to number 1. Probably that's kind of how they do it, but they have number 1 first. Makes sense. But we'll do a countdown. Number 11 is a 2022 movie called They Them, starring Kevin Bacon. I've never heard of this one. 2022. But it's a movie about a torture from camp counselors. Okay. They, them. That's number 11. No, check the Ava says she's almost 21. Good answer. And then Ava says 1981 for birthday, bloody birthday. Let's see. Paul says, Ava, you, Brian, Boney Bob will go out for drinks. Boney can drive the Manos mobile. All right. D says sleepaway camp. Yes, sleepaway camp. That, I'm sure that's in here. That's got to be in this list. I looked at it, but I don't remember. I've looked at several lists, and I'm not sure if that one's in here. But here's number 10. Here's number 10, Cheerleader Camp. And Tim Roth plays in this one. This was 1987. Interesting. Cheerleader Camp. All right, there you go. There you go. Now here is number 9, Stage Fright. And this is a 2014, so not too old. Ally McDonald plays in here. I don't know if you guys want me to read the synopsis, but these are the names and the years they came out, and basically who is the head star. Number 8 is Madman, starring Galen Ross. And this was from 1982, so kind of just came out after Bloody Birthday. Madman. I don't remember this. I don't remember that. And I don't remember this one. The Final Girls, starring Tassa, T-A-I, Tessa Farmiga, Malin Ackerman, Alexander Ludwig. All right. Meta horror comedy. Okay. And that was, that says released in 2015. So, The Final Girls. All right, now go back to the comments here. Paul says make sure you have a real ID for the bouncer to get in. Oh, Ava saw it? Which one did you see? I'm way behind. I know in your comments there's such a delay here. Bunny says, ain't got no arms to hold the steering wheel, Paul. Come to think of it, ain't got no body either. Don't think we'll get very far. No. Wasn't Bruce Springsteen's little sister in that movie? Bonehead says, I don't know. I can't either confirm nor deny that. SBC says, back when the Concorde was in service, flying on it did allow you to celebrate 2 birthdays. Ah, makes sense. Patty says, Sleepaway Camp, we just got the backpacks in for that. That's right. That's right. You sent me a really, really cool picture there. I looked at it right before this, so I didn't have time to load any pictures up tonight, but that was really neat. Maybe I'll put that on the group picture. Ava says, not getting the real ID. Let's see. Let me. SBC says, sounds like a movie with lots of creative emoji there. Self-made. Patty says, was it flying on the Concorde the closest way to get to space without being an astronaut? Probably. Let's see. Let me get caught up here. Madman is a fun one. SBC says, oh, okay. The one we just mentioned here, Madman. Back in 1982. All right, and Dee and Patty, they mentioned Sleepaway Camp, of course. John says, one summer camp that was scary as hell. Oh, that was scary as hell was The Burning. The movie that was made in 81, I think, and predates The Legend of Cropsey. The movie also starred the first appearance of future stars Jason Alexander, Holly Hunter, Fisher Stevens, and the special effects were made by Tom Savini. Awesome! The Burning, everybody. If you want to check out The Burning, there it is. Sounds pretty cool. Jason Alexander, Holly Hunter, Fisher Stevens, and special effects by Tom Savini. All right. Dee says They, Them is really good, but the movie is set in a LGBTQ youth conversion camp. Well, I think that's part of. I think that was part of the. Yeah, I think that's part of what the thing is about. But the physical, the torture, psychological and physical tortures or something from the camp counselors. So they don't sound like don't sound too nice. I've not seen that one. Valentine. Oh, Tracy said Valentine's Day. I saw. Oh, Ava says I saw they them. Did you? Did you like that one? Stephanie says Friday the 13th count. Sure does. Heck yeah. Tracy said April Fools. What was that? Was that a summer one? Summer camp movie? April Fools though. That was about that time I think with Bloody Birthday and all those. I think that sounds like it came out about that time. Patty said Friday the 13th should count. Oh yeah, it's I'm very sure that's in this list. I think it's number one. I'm giving it away. But it says, hey, don't Friday the 13th movies count as sleepaway camp horrors? Yeah, they sure do. D says Final Girl is awesome and action packed. She was all out of bubble gum. And we know what that means from John Carpenter's They Live. Let's see. What am I reading here? A sleepaway camp is the same as summer camp, ain't it? I'm not that smart, so that's why I'm asking. Sleepaway Camp. That's that movie with Felicia Rose. The very unique ending. Let's see. All right, so number 6, Fear Street Part 2, 1978. Okay, now that's part of the title. 1978 is part of the title. This was released in 2021. Second installment in Netflix Fear Street trilogy. All right, so Fear Street Part 2, 1970. You know, something about this seems kind of familiar. I don't know if we saw that, Ava. I don't know if you're still on here, but that sounds real familiar. I don't know if we saw that or not. Ah, here's one John had mentioned, The Burning, 1981. All right. Very cool. All right. So some of the ones you guys are mentioning are absolutely on this list from ranker.com. But it says YouTube has the original Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman movies on free this month, so you know what I'm watching tonight after Chiller Chat Room. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Camp Manos, SBC says to Paul. Paul says, I will be the head counselor, SBC. Boney Bob will be the camp doctor. But it says 1979, blew my mind. For Fear Street Part 2. Was there a 1979 version of that? I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I don't know. Okay, but this has been brought up, the Friday the 13th movies. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, is number 4 on the list. Counting backwards to number 1. This was released in 1984. So this is the final chapter. That was the one with Corey Feldman. We were talking about that when we were talking about the Friday the 13th movies, Jason. That was the part 4 where the little boy kind of goes slasher on Jason at the end. So, and in part 3, we have another Friday the 13th. Jason Lives. Jason Lives. So that was a fun one. I remember seeing that in the theater. Released in 1986. Very, very campy camp movie. So we're getting down to the few here. Patty says, yes, SBC, but common people can't ride a spy plane. D says, what about Cabin in the Woods? Yeah, I think that would qualify, certainly. Bonin says, I'd be a really bad doctor, Paul. Ain't nothing but a skull. Not very encouraging to a sick person. D says, is The Evil Dead a stretch? A bit. Good movie. Paul says, Brian, you and Ava can be the activity directors. All right. We need a task. But it says, don't worry, Brian. I ramble on incoherently all the time, and I usually don't have a point either. Not a problem. Patty says, okay, Bunhead. LeBob the Skull from Dresden Files. Be the doctor, and you'll be the head shrink. Doctor. Paul says, Manos would still be happy to have you as a doctor. Stephanie says, I got the first 4 Friday the 13th at home. Oh, yeah? Enjoy the Friday the 13th, do you? They're just, they're just kind of fun. All right, number two on the list. It's been mentioned by several of you, and with good reason. Sleepaway Camp. How could Sleepaway Camp not be on this list? Released in 1983, starring, of course, Felissa Rose. One of the most bizarre, I will read the synopsis here. One of the most bizarre and beloved campy horror classics, Sleepaway Camp, has just about everything horror fans who are looking for a fun and sleazy summer camp horror movie could ever want. Taking place at Camp Awawak. Jeez, I almost hurt myself trying to pronounce that. Sleepaway Camp has all the tropes of the classic slasher horror subgenre, with the weirdness dial amped up to 11, with camp games, counselors, and shorts that are far too short, and a rowdy cast of characters, all memorable in their own rights, who get methodically taken out one by one. Sleepaway Camp is the perfect example of how to do a summer camp horror movie that still manages to feel unique and original. Yeah. Have to agree with that. All right, let's check out some of these comments before we hit number one. What do you think it'll be? SBC says, I will be the chef at Camp Manos. Okay. Who's the cook for the camp, Patty wants to know. D says, I have mixed feelings about the Friday the 13th remake. I mean, okay, you talk about the, like, what, 2000, was it 2009 or something like that? Are you talking about that one, or are they making, they are making a newer one, aren't they? Because we were I had seen that the very next day after we were talking about Friday the 13th as a topic here, and they were showing the conceptual artwork, the new Jason, basically the new Jason. So, but I haven't seen anything about that other than that picture, because I wasn't really sure they were going to do it. So, it's not a horror movie, but Bill Murray's Meatballs, Paul says. Meatballs is a horror for some, Patty says. Bonin says, thanks, Pennsylvania Paul. I only hope to be able to come up to Ian's expectations. One of you all may have to hold me up. Brad says, I had a great Memorial Day yesterday, but not as great as when the 1931 horror films Dracula and Frankenstein come into the public domain in January 2027. Yes. Just be here just like that. Yeah, I probably will, actually. That's really not that far away. About a year and a half, right? Paul says, very true, Patty. How are you doing? All right, so, with that being said, I will take a moment, to talk about chiller night if you are in the area in Northwest Pennsylvania. Come on out. Visit me. Visit my store, Chiller Night, at the Cranberry Mall, again, in Venango County, Pennsylvania. Come on in. We've got little horror and science fiction merchandise. We got Star Wars figures. We got monster horror Funko Pop figures. We got bendy figures, and just all kinds of stuff. You just wouldn't believe it. Now, I actually want more things. We got T-shirts. Look at that, T-shirts. And we have escape rooms, The Witching Hour and Zombie Outbreak. Both are 1-hour escape rooms. And if you're interested in booking those, you can call 814-209-8214, or you can book online at Chiller Night. I do have that information in the description in case you forget. So, let's see. All right. I must have deleted my Funko Pop pictures from the queue. SBC says Sleepaway Camp. Yep, that's the number one. D says Sleepaway Camp was just wild. I know. Stephanie says, so what's the number one summer camp horror movie? That would be Friday the 13th. I think you all knew that. That was coming. Friday the 13th, released in 1980. And Friday the 13th is the film that helped start the summer camp craze that swept the horror world throughout the 80s. And there is arguably no greater camp in horror than Camp Crystal Lake. There's a truth to that, because I remember Camp Crystal Lake. I don't remember the camp. I could barely pronounce it, and I saw it in front of me for Sleepaway Camp, although that was I think it's fitting that Sleepaway Camp is number 2 and Friday the 13th is number 1. All right. The film is more of a murder mystery, with the killer not being revealed until the 3rd act of the film. And with all the sleaziness level toned way down compared to what the other films would bring to the franchise. Okay, while the film is indeed the first, it isn't necessarily the best, but still holds up as an incredibly important film in the history of horror. Yes, that it is directed by Sean S. Cunningham. Alright, so there we go. John says, I'll just ride by the camp, tell the kids and the counselors that you're doomed. You're all doomed. Have a great summer. SBC says, Dracula and Frankenstein, Jack Shadow double feature in 2027. I like it. I like what I'm hearing. John Bob says, Hogue, hey, how you doing? What are you up to? Good to see you on here. Thanks for joining us. John Bob is on Facebook, so hope all is well with you. Bunhead says, I think he's stretching out the suspense until he announces it, Miss Stephanie. Paul says, I expect substandard meals for my campers' last meals. Oh, absolutely, yes. We're not going to give them prime eateries. Brad says, Universal Studio in Orlando, Florida has just opened up brand new Universal Studios Experience Parks. I saw that. I did see that online. Including Universal Horror Films, Land. It even includes Dracula and Frankenstein. Very cool. I thought I even saw something about the Wolfman in there too, but it says, it's a shame Michael Myers never got to go to the sleepaway camp or summer camp. He'd have had a real scream to the campers. He'd have them in stitches. It'd been a real scream to the campers, have them in stitches. SBC says, if you think about it, these movies were probably the worst thing that could have happened to summer camps. I wonder how many went bankrupt because of them. I don't know. I never thought about that. I always thought it kind of added to the excitement, especially the part, where, just kind of envisioned. I've never been to a summer camp. I don't know. I was always just out playing baseball or playing in the woods or something. I never went to a summer camp. My younger brother did. I know that he and my cousin, they went to. I know they at least went one year to summer camp. But spooky stories around the campfire at night. I don't know. That had to have. That's like going swimming after seeing Jaws. Going to a summer camp after seeing Friday the 13th or Sleepaway Camp. I don't know. That's my comparison. D says Friday the 13th. It's called Blood Loss 2025. Oh, okay. So they are coming out. The actor that played Kid Jason, Ari Lehman, jumping out of the lake in the original is to be in this film, I think. Oh, is that right? Really? Interesting. Paul says Manos can't afford grade A, very low budget. Yes. Ava can be the nurse, Paul says. Okay. But it says, we were too poor to afford to go to summer camp. Brad says, Paul would have to go to grade generic. What? LOL. What, for Manos? I don't understand. Let's see. All right. Topic. Oh, and when I was thinking about the ghost stories around the campfire, that's kind of what a horror host does, Kind of sets the mood, sets the atmosphere, takes you on a little journey, stirs the imagination, pulls you into the story. So, with that being said, I'm going to try to get some new Chiller Night theaters for this summer. So we'll see how that goes. I would really like to do that. I would really like to bring those, to relaunch the show in some capacity. It is a challenge. It is a challenge because I have a lot of things going on right now, but a lot of hard work. But on the other side of the coin, it is fun for me. So I'm trying to balance my work so that I can kind of launch, at least for a limited run anyways, Chiller Night Theater. So we'll see how that goes. And I wanted to mention that again tonight. SPC says, I once went to a Christian Scout summer camp. The food was good, but unfortunately no women. Nah, probably just best not to throw temptation in there to a bunch of young teenage boys. Brad says, generic foods, not grade A. Oh, well, Brad says. For the no gourmet foods at the summer camp, yeah. But it says, and we were too busy doing chores at home, doing summer jobs for extra money and playing sports. Come to think of it, I don't think we would have wanted to go. Paul says, cheap and cheaper food. The best story is The Man with the Golden Arm. Oh, yes. Is that the one with the hook that we always hear around the campfire? Yeah. I don't know. Something about it. If you got a good storyteller, they can really pull you in. So, speaking of good storytellers, maybe we'll see some Jack Shadow appear in some way, shape, or form in the new Chiller Night theaters. But I need a good horror host name for, let's see, for when I'm looking like this, presenting the show You know, Jack Shadow's already got his very debonair look, but you know, what the heck? I know it's going to be Professor something. That's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. So we will see. We will see how that goes. But coming up this summer, coming up this summer. Porky's Bonehead says. Roger Carroll says, "Good evening. Good evening, Roger. Thanks for joining us." Paul says, "Yes, the hook. Ah, yes, the old hook, man with the golden arm." I didn't know he had a golden arm. I always remember the hook though. Just vaguely from my childhood, the stories, the ghost stories. You know, it would be cool. You know, it'd be neat. I think it would be neat if much time. Oh, I'm doing pretty good. If I've had this idea. I think it would be really cool if I could get some kids, or even anybody. I guess it wouldn't have to be kids. I think the kids would enjoy this, but you know, to submit like a 1 minute ghost story, and have that read by the host of Chiller Night Theater to the viewers, you know, during the episode. 1 minute, a 1 minute ghost story, short, very short, obviously, but I mean, you know, it could even be even shorter than that, just like a little paragraph, couple paragraphs. I think that would be interesting. I think it would be neat to be the person who submitted the story and have it read on the show as well. So I'm thinking of doing something like that. I don't get a lot of feedback. I do appreciate, like, you know, obviously Ava and some of you folks out there. D, you know, you share a lot. Some of the stuff that I post, trying to get the word out there, because it's. I also have an escape room zombie outbreak, a kids version. So right here, that I'm trying to get. I'm trying to give this away for free, you know, for test groups for ages 9 through 12. So I need some test groups to go through my kids mode for Zombie Outbreak, the kids version. And yeah, it's kind of hard to get the word out, but you know, I always appreciate when you folks share that information. So but I do think that I'm going to start posting that. I like that idea about the horror stories, the ghost stories, the 1 minute, the little short ones for the show. I kind of like that. I don't know. That's been kind of. I had that idea actually years ago, but I might try to fit that in with this new line of shows that's coming up. So. Oh, here we go. Bryan the Chiller Hogue. Brad says, yeah. Professor Fibes, Bonehead says, Dr. Knight. Dr. Knight. The Chiller Professor, Brad says. All right. All right. Paul says, please show Manos as the first movie, please. I've actually kind of already got the movies lined up, but or else I would, Paul. That's the only reason. Bonus, Professor Pull My Finger would be kind of silly, huh? You know, just a little. D says the campfire story at the beginning of the original The Fog movie is a classic. I vaguely remember that, and I just saw that movie. I'd say within the last 3 years, I saw the original Fog, but I have to go back and rewatch that. Professor Phantasm Bonehead says. Paul says, family, I need to go. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Happy birthday, Sis Ava. Boney Bob and I have to save the world. Oh, Boney Bob and I have to save the world. I love you guys. Be safe out there. All right, Paul, you take care and you have a good night. And thanks for joining us once again. Good to see you back on here regularly. So, Bonnet says, okay, I'll stop. Professor Paranormal. Professor Paranormal. Interesting. Raymond says, Bryan. Hey, Raymond. Thanks for joining us. D says, are you doing any advertising for the short stories? Reach out to schools or even campgrounds. I haven't. I've just mentioned it for the first time right here. I just was something I was thinking about, you know, about possibly doing. So it's an idea. I'm kind of kicking around in my head for it. So once I make that decision, I'll go ahead and start posting it. That's a neat idea, though. That's a real good idea. Stephanie says, by the way, how was everyone's Memorial Day? We had a very good day. Ava and I went and visited, you know, a lot of the cemeteries, and we had a good day, very good day. Got a lot done yesterday. But it says, we'll see you next week, Paul. Best wishes. Brad says, have your horror films lined up, Brian. It sounds interesting. It sounds chiller interesting. Yes. Chiller indeed. Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be. It'll be a combination of or at least what I can't 100% commit like this is absolutely happening, but it's the idea I have is it'll be a combination of like pre-tape shows. Might even be a blend of pre-taped and live, and some will be live. At least that's my intent. The thing that's going to kind of determine some of that is whether my haunt will be open every day, as it most of the days as a display haunt, and then on Friday and Saturdays in October as the regular haunt, the with the actors. Display haunt, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, basically is something you're walking through. You have some limited interaction with maybe lights and sound effects coming on and as you're reaching a certain point in a tunnel or room, something of that nature. But no actors in that haunt. But if done right, hopefully the atmosphere will be, if maybe even some parents want to come through and bring their kids through, and they don't want to bring their kids through with something jumping out at them, so that'd be a good time for that. Instead of having specifically, just a kids one for the nose scare, because although that does well, but I think that this would kind of work just as well. We'll see. Dr. Brain. I almost thought that said Dr. Bryan, SBC. Dr. Brain. Bonehead says, sorry, Raymond. I'll do it in my yelling text. Hey, Raymond! Raymond says, Brian, I had a hernia corrected. Hiatal hernia corrected. Oh, I feel like I've been stabbed in the gut a few times. Oh, I bet. Wow. Are you, was that recently? I mean, pretty recently? Wonder how long that takes to actually heal up. But regardless, I wish you a speedy recovery there, Raymond. But it says, sometimes guinea pig projects become surprisingly successful, Brian. Yes. You never know. You never know. But it says, oh, Raymond, I feel for you. I had a double hernia operation in the Marines, and I wish you the best and hope you get well soon. Yeah, that does not sound, nor does Bonehead's situation sound good at all. So both of you had pretty rough time at it, of course. But yeah, Raymond, I wish you a speedy recovery. Just like I wished Renee a speedy recovery. I wished her a speedy recovery about 2 months ago or so. Maybe longer by now. I don't know. I lose track of time. You know me and time. It just doesn't work out too well. Bad relationship. But yeah, I don't know. Renee, if you watch these later, just let us know you're still you're still out there. And I hope that your surgery went well and that everything went okay. And so I wish you a speedy recovery if you if you do happen to watch this, or even if you don't. SBC says, yeah, it's not conditional based on that. SBC says, a werewolf horror host. At the beginning, a pre-recorded animation of you transforming from a werewolf back into a human. And at the end, when the moon appears from behind the clouds, transforming back. Oh, that's getting pretty fancy. Yeah, it's a neat idea. I don't know if I can do it, but yeah. Let's see. Stephanie says, I hope Renee is okay. Yeah, me too. Me too. Patty says, gotta go. Stay safe all. All right, my tongue was tripping over my lips on that one. All right, you too, Patty. Thank you for joining us. Brian says, late. There you are, though. Hey, thanks for joining us. We got 8 minutes. A lot can happen in 8 minutes. Raymond says, thanks, Bonehead. I feel a little better every day. Ava says, have a good night, Patsy. Yes. Bonehead says, stay safe, Patty, and sorry about calling you Patsovan. Why? That's her name on here. I call her that. Sometimes. Occasionally. I'm sure she doesn't mind that at all. Raymond says, about 6 weeks. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's probably going to feel like a long 6 weeks to you. Brad says, because Brian is the chiller professor. The chiller professor, SBC. Take care, Pat. Stephanie says, Bonin says, oh no, I thought her name was Patty. I goofed again. It is. It is. Is it Patsovan? Patsovan is her name on here, just like Bonehead or SBC, but her name is Patty. So yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You're fine. Professor Chill, SBC says. I was actually thinking of that one too. I have like a list of 10 of them, but that one was actually one that's on that list. Raymond says, I remember Renee. Yeah, it seems like so long ago. It's been months now. It's been months since we've heard from her, and she was on here all the time. So I hope everything's okay. She might just found another group. Maybe, I know Renee was big into UFOs and the UFO community, so she might have found a group that just is, caters more for the UFO crowd on Tuesday night. So that's a possibility. That's a possibility. I've got about 18 weeks left until Jack Shadow's House of Terror opens. Now that might sound like a pretty good chunk of time, but for me, that is, I really wish I had about an extra month added on to that. I really do. I'm working on getting this. I'm adding in structure-wise, and then once I do that, there is